NRL Round 9, New Zealand Warriors up against the Knights over there from Newcastle. Let's take a look how the two teams stack up. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Good to see a few familiar faces back, some much needed experience, a bigger looking bench this week. Let's take a look how the two teams line up. Over the years, 48 games between the two clubs, 25 wins to us, 22 to them and one draw. One of the few clubs, again, we have a winning record against. Earlier on the season, it was only round 4 we played them, 20-12 to the Warriors. I don't get why we keep playing teams like this when we haven't played everyone else in the comp yet. Seems a really odd way to make the draw, but who knows? Some wanker with AI over in bloody Canada making up the rules, I'm sure. Looking at 2024 so far, though, we've had the 3 wins and a draw, and they've just had the 3 wins from their 8 games. 168 for us and 151 against. Our for and against taking a bit of a hit over the past couple of weeks. That said, they've got a minus record with 138 for, 168 against. Completion rates for us, 81, 79 for them, bugger all difference, and 89 apiece for tackle efficiency. So overall, the teams have been going quite similarly. Us slightly ahead of them on the table, thanks to the draw against Manly, but getting pretty much do or die for both teams if we're really wanting to make a decent dent, or top 6 or top 4. So normally I go into a little bit more detail comparing the overall seasons for both teams as far as stats go, but I thought it'd be interesting this week to compare how both teams went last week. Us up against the Titans in a losing effort, the Knights getting up over the Dolphins. Both teams 52% of possession, 29 minutes in possession for us, 31 for them. Completion rate 87 versus 88. Very similar considering they just won and we just lost. Attack, it's quite interesting again, very similar. All runs for us 197, 211 for them, 1,930 metres run for us, 1,899 for them. So, and this reflects the best of my knowledge, we actually have the best yardage in the comp at the moment. We're getting good average metres off our runs, but we're just not converting our opportunities. Post-contact metres, 764 for us, 710 for them. So similar. 5 line breaks for us, 4 for them. 35 tackle breaks for us, 46 for them. 11 of those, I think, coming from the new fullback on debut. It's a pretty good effort. Average metres per set, 49 for us, 45 for them. So, again, leading that stat. Kick return metres, quite similar here with 267 for us, 237 for them. So that's usually, like I've said before, a good indicator you're winning the field battle. Defence, both sitting on 85% last week. Tackles made 340, they made 357, so good to see them with a bit more tackling under their belts and the shorter turnaround, so hopefully that helps us a little bit with the fitness factor. 43 missed tackles for us though, with only 38 for them, both high numbers. Both teams will be looking to get that number down. 16 ineffective tackles for us, 21 for them. So when you look at the balance here, both teams struggling a little bit there to complete their tackles. Error rates, 9 for us, 8 for them, 5 penalties against us, 4 for them, no ruck infringements for us, 2 for them. So looking at all the stats going through this, it just shows you how tight the NRL is. We lose by 3 points, pretty much exactly the same stats as a team who wins by 4. I think we're going to be a pretty evenly matched team this week. They've got a couple of experienced players out in Frizzell and Ponga. You'd think that'd help us, but they played pretty well in the weekend. I liked how they played a simple game plan, very direct, high energy, and having that new young fullback at the back there to add some X factor. Us struggling to really get things going. Still a little bit clunky in attack there. Got beaten in the middle here for a significant period on defense. So they'll be a little bit more confident. However, like I said, with that break, with a couple of guys coming back in, bringing a bit more experience in, going for a heavier bench, I'm feeling pretty confident about this, even though it's really tough to get a win over there in Knightsland with 30-odd thousand screaming fans, probably one of the most hostile crowds you'll come across. They handed us a kicking there last year in one of our biggest losses, so don't take this one for granted, team. Rightio, let's get straight into comparing the back lines. CNK up against Armstrong. This young guy in only his second game. Sounds like he's been carving it up in cup, though, something like 18 tries or something. I think they said he'd had a whole bunch of tackle breaks. You saw he wasn't overwhelmed at all up against the Dolphins, a pretty experienced pack there. Running for 189 metres, got a try. It was a really well-worked try, doing the centre back inside to the fullback play that we saw from Pappenhausen, put that try on us against the Storms. So we'll have to be very wary of that because there's every chance I'll try that again. No try assists, one line break, and 50% tackle efficiency. So he's a slimmer guy, only 82 kgs and 184 centimetres. So Chan's having a little bit more weight behind him there, a much more direct player who gets his impact on his effort areas and running the ball out. He'll obviously get about another 50 or 60, maybe even 100 more metres than this young man, but he's got some serious X factor, very quick and swift on his feet. So they'll both bring something very different to the game. For the Knights, you'd have to think they're a little bit down, losing Ponga again, but having a guy come in like this, having a Reece Walsh-like impact, I don't think they'll be too panicked. I think they'll rate themselves to break our edges out in the backs there because we've had a bit of a struggle, as we'll get onto in a moment. So that said, hoping my man Chance can step up and really dominate the young man and show him what first grade's all about. On our left wing, Montoya up against Tuala on their right-hand side. Probably one of those players that I've underestimated because I hadn't known too much about him before we played previously. Very, very good player, very elusive, difficult to tackle, quick, quite a tall, rangy guy, very similar size to Montoya. So I think Montoya's really going to have to sort himself out, particularly on defence here. Like I mentioned in my review from last week, trying to find a few more gaps, trying to get RTS to sort of link up with him in some shape, rather than just spending his day running straight into forwards who are chasing up kicks. 125 games versus 96. 8 games for Montoya, 7 games for Tyler this year. Average running metres very similarly there, 144 versus 152. 2 tries apiece. 25 tackle breaks though for Montoya versus 11. That said, 2 line breaks for Montoya versus 6 for Tuala. 75% tackle efficiency versus 86. I'm going to struggle to pick Montoya over Tuala if I'm honest. Like I said, he's a younger player, got a lot more spring in his step, a little bit more pace. We're not doing too well out wide, so I really hope Montoya can step up his defence. Trust old RTS inside him, and hopefully RTS and Tamati Martin can link up a little bit better, put some shape on, and get Montoya a couple of tries. Into the centres, RTS up against Dane Gagai, a really good battle of the veterans here, 205 games versus 274. Dane Gagai just never seems to stop going. Has an error in him, but he's a big game player, pulls out those big moments. He's very elusive. So this year so far, 8 games for RTS, played every game, and 6 for Gagai. RTS, 185 average running metres, 2 tries, 44 tackle breaks. Pretty good effort. 1 try assist, 4 line breaks, and 83% tackle efficiency. 139 running metres with Gagai, 2 tries, 30 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, 4 line breaks, and 85% tackle efficiency. Although RTS has more tackle breaks in them, Gagai can be a real niggly guy to try and tackle. He's one of those guys that when we've trapped the opposition in their 20, get to about the 4th tackle, Gagai comes in and he'll break 2 or 3 tackles and just get a little bit of momentum on. So RTS is really going to get up in his face, put him on the ground quickly, maybe go for a bit of a Rocco special and drop him around the legs. Really interesting battle. Can RTS find a little bit more space? We did it in the first 15 minutes last week. We saw him get a couple of really solid breaks, have room to step. Other than that, like I said in last week's preview, all of the ball that's coming out to RTS and to Montoya is basically in the left third of the field. We're not getting shape coming at them from the middle, so they're running out of room really quickly. RTS being used as a battering ram. Hope we can figure out how to stop that this week. Rocco Berry coming off the back of a tough couple of weeks defensively, up against a really big challenge here in Bradman Best. That said, he's managed to handle him in every game he's come up against him so far. 39 games for Rocco, 78 for Best. So far in 2024, Rocco 8 games, played every game there. Average 84 metres, needs to get up that way, if not to 100 this week. Not quite enough running from him last week. 2 tries, 12 tackle breaks, 2 try assists, 2 line break assists, and 93% tackle efficiency. versus 8 games for best, 153 running meters, but more of a contribution there. 3 tries, 18 tackle breaks. I'm surprised that's not a little bit higher, to be honest. No try assists, 2 line breaks, and 91% tackle efficiency. You know, I know he's rated as a bit of a defensive centre, but he's a blockbusting runner. I'm surprised he doesn't have more tackle breaks and more line breaks. So maybe he's not having as good a season as he had last year. Rock, I'm really looking for him to have a turnaround. I think he may have, someone said he broke a finger, or I didn't even notice him go off on the weekend. If that's the case, it may hinder his tackling a little bit. Not 100% sure, but it's obviously an indication he should be okay if Webby's backing him to start again. Could have brought in Pompey or Ali Lautoa, but I rate my man Rocco to turn things around. 50-50 matchup again for me. I don't know, maybe Bradman Best origin experience gives him a slight edge, but I trust that Rocco will get him down. Dallin, my man, up against Greg Marju. 197 games, just 52 for Marju. It always surprises me that. Starting out, I think it was at the Titans there. Got him on a pretty good deal when he came down to the Knights and ended up having a breakout season last year. I think it was like 24 tries he had, quite similar to Dallin. 7 games for Dallin so far this season, 172 running meters, 5 tries, 30 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, 6 line breaks, and 86% tackle efficiency, and about 55 jam-ins. And Greg Marju, coming off the back of, I think it was a HIA in the weekend, bit of a question mark over him. 5 games so far this season, 169 running meters, very similar to Dallin. 1 try, 18 tackle breaks, no try assists, no line breaks, and 64% tackle efficiency. Similar to Dallin, not quite having the same year that he had last year, particularly the try scoring front, only the 1 try last weekend to break his drought. I think overall Dallin's been playing okay, other than that jamming and the odd off. Other than that, or the odd silly offload, or maybe a slight error. Surely after a week of solid training, bit of a refresh, he's going to be back. Webby would have instilled a few new ideas in him. Back in my man Dallin. Surely this is one of the chances for him to turn his season around. And into the 5/8s, Temari Martin up against Tyson Gamble. Gamble, one of the bigger 5/8s out there at almost 1.90 m, 95 kg, so giving away a little bit of size there, Temari Martin, but obviously on the opposite sides of the field. 81 games experience for Temari Martin now, and just 55 for Gamble. 4 games this season for Temari Martin. Average running only 84 metres. He's had a couple there up over 100, but a couple quite low let down. Only 11 kicking metres. On average, 1 try, 1 try assist, 1 line break assist, and 86% tackle efficiency versus just 57 running metres there for Gamble. 257 average kicking metres, so sort of sharing the kicking quite evenly on their side. 1 try, 5 try assists, 6 line break assists, and 90% tackle efficiency. So if you look at the key indicators for your halves with your try and your line break assists, Gamble a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for, especially Willie Mason. Temari Martin, I think he's capable of a lot more than we've seen from him ever since that South game where he really stood out. Have we figured out this week how to unlock that left? I don't know. I think we've just got to give them more time, give them a bit of shape. Temari Martin is more than capable of delivering. I feel like he's got the ability to unlock his left-hand side like we did. I mean, just look what he did at the start of last season. That left-hand side was pumping before he broke his leg. Gamble been in and out. Been dropped a couple of times. You think he's feeling confident after last week's effort. That spine was looking pretty tidy. I don't know. I'm not going to criticise too much Tamati. I think it's more about that whole, the whole team needs to get that attack balance right, and that probably comes down to SJ and where he's leading them around. So let's see how it goes, but hopefully we can really unlock him. Speaking of the man SJ, his name, so he's hoping Paul Roach not named on the bench, so maybe that's a sign that Achilles has settled down a little bit and they trust that he can get through 80 minutes. Not too sure. Jackson Hastings, again, they've had a couple of rotations in their halves trying to find that best combination. I feel like they've got 2 5/8s at the moment, but they seem to go all right on the weekend. You'd hope that SJF has legs a little bit better. He should be able to click in and put together a little bit more attacking flair than Jackson Hastings. But anyway, 250 games versus 90. SJ playing 8 this year. 83 average running meters. I'm not sure why that's not up over 100. He's had some big games there. I guess last week it was about 40 meters he ran, which brought that number down. Average kicking 579. I think he's probably leading the comp in meters now, with Fogarty dropping out due to the pec injury. 4 tries, 9 line break assists, 8 try assists, 89% tackle efficiency. What do you got there? Hastings, 6 games, average of 95 running meters, so he does like to run, but he's played 5/8 a bit. Average kicking 167, so neither of their guys are big kickers, so that's one slight weakness on their side. 3 tries, 2 line break assists, 3 try assists for 86% tackle efficiency, which is about where SJ's been sitting a bit recently. Honestly, if SJ has managed to sort of settle that Achilles down this week, or he does, he's still got quite a few days to go before a Sunday game. I hope he can light it up. You can feel the frustration. Disappoints me a little bit when he gets angry with his own players. That's probably a sign of frustration within himself. Things aren't going as he'd hoped, but he's really got to light it up. We made the top 4 last year off the back of a lot of our players having career best games, including him. He hasn't quite replicated it this season. I'm not saying he's playing bad. He's probably playing, one of his top 5 seasons of his career as far as consistency goes, but it's not quite at the level we need if we're going to make a genuine run and get 5 or 6 games on the trot, which may be a mission against the Chooks and the Panthers, but hey. So we shall see which SJ turns up. On to the props. Adam Whanua Blake up against Jacob Saifiti. Questions marks over his ankle, I think it was. Scans came back okay, but it won't be 100%, so hopefully that hinders him a little bit. AFB coming off a monster game predominantly in the weekend, but struggled a little bit in that middle period, as I said, mostly when he went off, but still looking for that anger to come back this week. I want to see an angry AFB. I want to see him poleaxe guys on defense, and I want to see him just bust through them and another couple of tries. 167 games from him versus 150 for Saifidi. 8 games this year or both playing 8 games. 192 average running meters for AFB, 75 post contact, 4 tries, 26 tackle breaks, 7 offloads, and 95% tackle efficiency. Taking a hit last week, he's normally up about 96, 97. 121 average meters for Saifidi, so a little bit less there, but playing less minutes and a bigger impact off his bench. You'd imagine having his brother come on than potentially our bench props. 53 post-contact meters, no tries, 4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 91%. Underrate him at my peril. I'm not going to this week. I think he's going to be a big handful for AFB to wrap up, but I rate my man to do it. Hopefully he can dominate, and we don't have that quiet bloody period in the middle. Wade Egan up against Jaden Brady this week. Felix Crossland dropping down to the bench in recent times. 115 games for Egan versus 113 for Brady. I didn't realise he'd been around that long. Both playing 6 this season. Egan with 57 average running meters, down a little bit. No tries. Surprised, no tries from this year. 3 try assists, 5 line break assists, 2 offloads, and 93%. Really hope his energy's back up and we can see him running out of dummy half this week. Makes such a difference. Get a little bit more energy in that pass, get it nice and crisp. Get that timing right, brother. Just 36 running meters for Brayley. No tries, no try assists, no line break assists, 1 offload, and 95% tackle efficiency, predominantly playing off the bench. Egan has by far the better all-round game. Brayley is more really hard-working, robust kind of hooker. But it's interesting, I heard someone mention the other day that a lot of the top teams actually have that kind of hooker. You look at the Panthers, the Broncos, don't really have that world-class hooker. They're very serviceable, but they rely more on their 13s to maybe be involved in their halves. So you don't always need the flashiest hooker to be the best team in the comp. Be interesting to see if Wade Egan can step up and show that he is a class above, though. Put himself back in that origin frame after a couple of tired efforts over the past few weeks, particularly on defence. Mitch Barnett up against Leo Thompson. Leo Thompson having a little bit of a quieter year this year, but really started to turn things around last week. So does that form continue? Mitch Barnett for me, having a better year than he even had last year after, he had the neck injuries and so forth. But I'm really liking what we're seeing from him this season. 151 games versus 48. 8 games for Barnett this year, and just 7 for Thompson. 153 average running meters for Barnett, 65 post contact meters, no tries, 7 tackle breaks, 9 offloads, more than AFB. You see AFB wants to offload at times, but he just holds that ball back. 94% tackle efficiency versus an average of 110 running meters, 50 post contact, no tries, 11 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 96% tackle efficiency. Like I said, he's a 40 odd minute prop versus someone who's up around the 60 to 70 most weeks. So hence the difference in average running meters and so forth. But yeah, expect a pretty even battle from these two. I like them both, but Mitch Barnett, let's see if we can get that aggressive defense going through the whole first half or through your whole first stint. Let's win that middle and not let them get any kind of momentum on, particularly if they get a lucky try. Jackson Ford back into his familiar left-hand edge, up against Lucas, who I believe was playing in the centre last time out. Another guy that I didn't really expect to have such a solid impact, playing in the unfamiliar position at centre. They're very quick for an edge back rower, not the biggest guy in the world, giving away 5 kg to Jackson. 65 games to Jackson, 14 for Lucas, 8 games this season for Jackson versus 7. Very similar numbers actually. 101 running meters for Jackson, 3 tries, 4 line breaks, no line break assists, no offloads, and an average of 38 tackles at 93% versus 107 running meters, 2 tries, 4 line breaks, 1 offload, average of 33 tackles per game at 92%. Both dynamic players, both get through a power of work. One probably a little bit more agile and quick, but that said, Jackson doesn't lack speed when he gets into a break. Really like the way he's played over the past couple of weeks. Haven't had all of the haters out there congratulating him on not having any errors or penalties for the past couple of weeks, particularly last weekend. I thought he was outstanding. People love to shout out and give people shit when they're not playing well, but very rarely do they jump on and praise guys like Jackson when he turns it around. Lucas, a very solid player. Kind of cancel each other out, but hopefully that slight power, extra power that Jackson will have, hopefully we can get those double lead runners going down the left-hand side this week. We've seen it a couple of times this season. Maybe like a little fake and pump it through to Jackson through for a try. I would really love to see him get up there and over the line again. But yeah, looking for a pretty even battle from these two. Onto the right-hand edge, Kurt Capewell coming back in from the throat injury, probably giving him a chance to settle those ribs down as well. Hopefully he's going to come back a lot more refreshed. Looking for a little bit more contribution from him as far as meters go this week. 144 games versus just the 8 for Kai Piers-Paul. But he's obviously very experienced over in Super League. 6 games for Capewell this year, 8 for Piers-Paul. 61 average meters for Capewell. I'd like to see a little bit more from that. No tries, 1 line break, no line break assists, which I would have thought with his ball playing ability, we would have seen more than that. 40 average tackles though at 91%. 119 running meters. Didn't know a lot about this guy before we played him, but shit. For a guy his height, close to 2 meters, he'll meter 98. He's very agile. He's not the thickest guy, but he's agile. He's got those long, dangly arms that are a bloody nightmare to tie up. So he gets a few offloads away. 1 line break assist, 8 offloads, as I said. Just the 25 average tackles a game at 95%. So 2 very different style back rowers. One contributing more in the meters, one contributing more in defense. Then we get to lock Adam Elliott, Tohu. This is always a good battle. 228 games versus 151. Both very senior players now, both playing 8 games so far this season. 152 average running meters for Tohu. 41 post contact, no tries. 2 tackle breaks, 2 offloads. 42 average tackles at 95%. Man, what a machine. Versus 96 average running meters, 29 post contact, 3 tries, 13 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 35 average tackles at 95%. I do like Elliott. He's a very explosive player, very similar in size to Jackson, but probably plays with a little bit more power. Definitely a lot more sort of speed. it's hard to say energy than Tohu, like probably high energy compared to Tohu. Tohu tends to grind his way through his work. I'm really looking for Tohu to get that passing game a lot more crisp this week. Hopefully, like I said, we've had a bit more chance to train. Hopefully SJ has a bit of a chance to train in shape this week. But yeah, 50-50 because they both contribute really heavy minutes for both teams. But like I called yesterday in my post-game review, I really need Tohu to step up, show a bit more leadership, particularly when they score a try, not even to get ahead, but just to get momentum. We've got to find a way to get our leaders to step up and turn this momentum around. Can't keep waiting for half time and getting behind in the game. We end up chasing it. So looking at the benches, very different bench for us. Got to say it gives me a little bit more confidence. Dylan Walker, Tom Ale, Jacob Laban and Bunty Afoa up against Crossland, Saifidi, Cartwright and Jones. So we have a utility, 2 props and an edge. They've got a utility, 1 prop and 2 back rowers. So probably a slightly lighter bench than us, which is a bit of a unique situation to have been in after the past few weeks. At this point, I'm going to say, look, there'll be a lot of fans out. There'll be a lot of fans out there spitting the dummy because Zion's dropped out for Bunty. Just think about how we lost that game last week. We lost the middle. We struggled to control the ruck, particularly when AFB went off. Bunty's a much bigger body. You know, he's up around close to 120 kgs. Zion's still finding his way. You're getting a lot more defense off Bunty than you got with just 5 tackles from Zion last week. His time will come, but I like bringing Bunty back in. We need that experience. He's been there, done that. He won't do the same amount of meters. He won't make the same post-contact meters, that's for bloody sure, but he will make a lot of tackles and he won't make mistakes. Jacob Laban, for me it was a 50-50, maybe having Zion there instead of Jacob and giving the young fella a bit of a rest, but they've obviously got full confidence. After the 10-day turnaround, he'll be ready to go. Tom Ale, I'm happy to see there. He needs to get some meters under those legs and really show us the potential. And Dylan Walker, hopefully that ankle's holding up. Crossen, he's a great utility to have off the bench here, ex-half. Like I said, Saifidi makes a big impact off the bench. Interesting, they don't have 2 props on the bench. They often do play that option. Hetherington probably like burning a few bridges the week before last, the boxing match. So going for Cartwright, who was suffering from an ankle injury as well. He may be 50-50 in Jones. Right, summarise this all up. Ship, they'll be buoyant off the back of a win without Kalen Ponga. We will just be desperate. We've got to be desperate, and that's got to be turned into desperate play on the field. We need clinical, aggressive, relentless defense. We need clinical passing. We need to get our structure right. We need to set early. We need better 5th tackle options. I think we need a little bit of variety, SJ. Put the odd midfield bomb up. Put the odd grubber in there. I know the game plan is to pin them into their 5-metre line and tire out their forwards and hopefully finish stronger. Shit isn't working, so let's put a few surprises on them. Put a few things on them they don't expect. Get RTS popping back to fullback or something every now and then to give them a bit of open space. I don't know. Fuck, I'm out of ideas because I have no idea what Webby will be doing this week as far as adding some variety. I know he'll be reinforcing sticking to their game plan because he believes in it. We've seen it when it clicks, how easy it is for us to score. Last week, the first 2 tries. The first try for SJ against the bloody Dragons the other week. We put on points easily enough, but it's that ability to fend our errors, cut out fucking penalties, cut out the mistakes, and then we can grind someone out. But as soon as we start giving away penalties, we know up against an Aussie team over there, we're not going to get the 50-50 calls, so don't fucking give the ref the opportunity to do it. Do that, play like the Harold Mats boys, and I'm bloody confident we can get this win. Up the mighty wires, what do you guys reckon? Who are you excited to see? Who are you frustrated about being in there? What do you really need to see from the boys if we're going to get this win this week? Let me know in the comments. I always love to hear from you guys. Right, that'll do us. 12-point win to the Warriors. Clinical, hard fought, but we lead from the front and never relinquish that lead. I'm all in, guys. I hope you are too.